In 2015, I was part of a group that made a new test for boots for violent situations. There were scientists, there were people from the British Standards Institute, there were end users, and there was myself, the humble bootmaker. And one of the things that was highlighted was the flame resistance of the boot. At that time, it was a very simple test. They just took the material from which the boot was made, they played a flame under it for 2 minutes, and then they examined it afterwards to see if there was any damage, and also it hadn't got to catch fire. If it did catch fire, it had to self-extinguish within 2 minutes. So the new test was much more severe, and we tried to replicate what actually happens in real life. And so we decided the only way to do that was to pour petrol over the boot and set it on fire. And I'm now applying that same test not only to police boots but to military boots for use in high liability combat situations. Our latest military boot, the Ops boot, and this is the Kven boot, they both pass this test. So we'll look now at the video of setting the boot on fire. Well, as you can see, today we're outside, and you'll understand why in a minute. This is the new Ops boot that I make for military. It's an absolutely great boot, and the feedback I've got on it is just amazing. I mean, the comfort of it, the protection, the higher leather, the waterproofing, and actually this great last. It's called the A-Form last. And most people, young people nowadays, they grew up wearing trainers. And this last is designed around a trainer. It's a bit wider at the front, lovely narrow heel. And a lot of people who've only ever worn trainers or that type of footwear, they find it much easier to switch over to this as a combat boot. It fits better for them. It's more natural for them, and it's got a good toe lift. However, that's not why I'm here today. One of the things that the military encounter, and the police certainly encounter now, is especially in crowd control or public order, is flame resistance. People throw petrol bombs, whatever. And this boot is flame resistant. And it's the most extreme form of flame resistance for military and police. And I wanted to demonstrate it. So in brief, what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you what the test is like. It's done in a laboratory, but out here I can replicate it. We pour petrol over the boot and we set it on fire. So, Chris, if I just get this here, and this bottle. Now, I've already put 20 millilitres in there, as you can see, and now I'm going to put another 20 millilitres in. Bring that up. A bit more. Yep. So if I put that in the bottle now, as you can see me doing it, now in that bottle there are 20 millimetres, and it's a mixture of toluene and petrol, highly inflammable. And what we do is we pour it over the boot. We pour it down by the tongue here, as you can see, and we pour it down there, you see that? And we pour it here on at the edge of the tongue, and we pour the rest of it up on top of there. And as you can see, the boot is well doused. The actual test is only 15 millimetres, but we've gone a bit further just to make sure. We then give that 10 seconds. So how are we doing on time, Chris?
5 seconds.
5, right. And that 10 seconds is just to allow the fuel to drain off the boot. So we've now had 10 seconds, so we'll take this drip tray away here, and we'll just move that over there. And now if you've got the lighter, Chris, you're at work, you want to set it on fire for me? And once it's burning, set your timer going. Right? Now, whoa, up she goes. Now, the idea of this is that, yeah, the boot will be damaged, obviously it will, it could not be, could it? But it will self-extinguish within 2 minutes. That's the test, okay? So Chris has got the timer going now, and we're going to watch it and time it. Now we won't do the whole video, it's a long watch of 20 minutes, but Tell me, have we got to 1 minute? Where are we at now, Chris?
20 seconds.
How many?
30.
30 seconds. And as you can see, it's already self-extinguishing. And we just keep on running it like that. Now, I've tried this test with other military boots, including some we make, I have to say. And I've had boots which would be used in dangerous situations, and they've still been burning even more strongly after 5 minutes. I mean, if your foot was in them, you'd have a serious problem. How long are we now, Chris?
1 minute.
1 minute at the moment. Well, it's getting there anyway. And I think what's burning now is, these are flame-resistant laces. It's extinguished.
1 minute, 12 seconds.
1 minute, 12 seconds, and the boot's extinguished. And I put my hand straight in the boot now, and it's warm, but I tell you what, it's not uncomfortable. I could have had that on my feet, and I wouldn't have had a problem with it. In fact, I wanted Chris to actually wear it while I poured the petrol over it, but for some reason he refused to do it, you know. Anyway, maybe next time, Chris. So, all of us remember the dreadful bad days of the conflict in Northern Ireland. We see it in other parts of the world now. And in those situations, yes, you can have petrol bombs thrown at you. They can be all over the floor. You're standing there trying to hold a line, and this boot will give you the maximum flame resistance for that situation. It's not a fireman's boot. It's a military boot for that. It's lightweight. There's nothing. It doesn't add to the weight of the boot. The comfort's the same. Everything about it. It's a cracking military boot. It really is. I mean, I'm so happy with this Ops boot. I think it's a great boot. So, flame resistance. The very latest test. It isn't. You don't just test a bit of leather or test a bit of this. Douse it in petrol and set it on fire. That's real flame resistance.